Starting off our list today at number 10, we have the ex-wife interview. Jada is known to invite just about everyone on her Red Table talk show. So it really shouldn't be a surprise when we found out that she invited Will Smith's ex-wife, Cherie. And during the interview, they would talk about a time that Jada actually thought it was okay to discipline Will's son, Trey. With both ladies describing their sides of the story, Jada would start things off by saying, "I can remember some times that I really crossed the line. There was one time Trey had a play date and he misbehaved, and I was like, we gotta sit down, we gotta talk about this. Trey can't be behaving this way." And Cherie shared her version by adding, "I literally walked into the house, just dropped him off, and as I walked in, Jada was like, 'Listen, we gotta talk about his behavior,' and I was like, 'Go get his daddy, please. Why were you talking about what happens at my house over here? This behavior was at my house, but you can't really discipline someone else's kids and think it's okay." Number 9, forced marriage interview. During an interview with People magazine, Jada would tell the media outlet that she never wanted to get married, and she ultimately only ended up getting married because her mother told her she had to get married. With Jada's mother being old and Will wanting a family, in the end Jada agreed to getting married as she was forced to believe that it was something she really should have done. Even though she admitted that she fell hard for Will when they first started dating in 1995, she would also admit that after she got pregnant with their son Jaden 2 years later, she wasn't necessarily down to have a traditional wedding. Later on in the interview, Jada would then say that the reason she was having so much doubt when it came to the idea to marriage, even though she adored Will, was because she never really seen a happy marriage and it made her not fond of the idea. And honestly, that's probably why she ended up cheating on Will in the first place. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, we have Willow's photo. When Jada sat down for an interview with high-end shopping site Net-a-Porter, she would have to come to her daughter's defense again after she was asked about the controversial photo of Willow being 13 years old laying in bed with a shirtless 20-year-old photographer. Jada would then go on to tell the interviewer, "Just don't pollute something that's not dirty. It's really tough. I feel like the connection to value of woman on a bigger scale has decreased tremendously. Even though you look and go, women have so many opportunities," and it's like, yeah, but at what cost? Are women valued for being women, or are they valued when they have more masculine qualities? She then went on to note that she just wants her kids to be happy and just wants them to be themselves, as her kids aren't her and she can't fix things that happen to her by projecting her thoughts onto her kids because it's a terrible trap, and that's why she stood by Willow's decision and made all of us cringe in the process. Number 7, Scientology. Okay, so we all know Jada's a little weird, and that's probably because over the last decade she's been trying to deny that she has any affiliation with the Church of Scientology. And then after she was exposed by an ex-Scientologist for not only being spotted at the Celebrity Center, but also for opening a school for the controversial religion for kids, Jada would then bring Lee on her Red Table talk show, and she would clear the air by trying to settle their dispute back in 2018. And in the interview, it definitely had a lot of us raising our eyebrows because we just couldn't believe that Jada was lying through her teeth just to justify why she was going to the church in the first place. During the interview, Jada would say, "My grandmother was like, you're gonna learn all the religions, and then you gotta decide which one you want to practice. I always took the position that I'm here at the Scientology Center to learn what I want to learn, and I have no interest in being a Scientologist." And that statement would have been fine if it was the truth, but you can't open a Scientology school for kids and then say you have no intention of being a Scientologist when you're already affiliated with the religion. Number 6, parenting. With Jada and Will Smith being A-list celebrities at one point, it's no surprise that their children also grew up in the limelight. However, as any aspect of a celebrity, being a famous parent has sometimes led to increased scrutiny for Jada. Jada's and Will's parenting has often come under fire for years, which would then cause Jada to sit down with US Weekly to explain the Smiths are very open about a wide variety of subjects when she said, "I'm not a conventional parent," which I take a lot of pride in. And then in 2018, Jada would also admit that she and Will had different parenting approaches and often argued over the subjects like their son Jaden Smith wearing a skirt. She would then take to her Red Table talk show to embarrass her husband by saying he has his feelings on that for sure. I remember Will calling me and being like, "Have you talked about this with Jaden and him wearing a skirt?" And I said, "Yes, I have. He's pretty happy about it." But honestly, the fact that she's gotten her kids to even turn on their father during interviews just proves that she isn't exactly the role model parent everybody should be following. Number 5, open marriage. Jada and Will Smith have faced a lot of scrutiny over their marriage to the point they have become a laughingstock or a hero to other people who have a non-conventional approach when it comes to their love life. In 2013, Jada would sit down for an interview with HuffPost Live, and she would admit more fuel to the fire behind the rumors surrounding her open marriage, when she would insist that she and Will had no claim over each other's lives. She would then go on to say, "I've always told Will, you can do whatever you want as long as you can look at yourself in the mirror and be okay." She then insisted that she was here to be his partner, but at the end of the day, Will had to learn how to be his own man. After the interview started to go viral, it faced a lot of backlash, and Jada would head to her Facebook page to clear everything up by saying, "Will and I can do whatever we want because we trust each other to do so. This doesn't mean we have to be in an open relationship, this means we have grown." But if you aren't in an open relationship, how do you explain your affair with August Alsina? And how are you able to look at yourself in the mirror and be okay with the fact that you embarrass your husband every single day? Number 4, interviewed herself. In the aftermath of the whole August Alsina interview, Jada Pinkett Smith would admit that there was some healing that needed to take place, and she would tweet that she would be interviewing herself as the next subject on her Red Table Talk episode, and Will Smith would be joining her. In the episode, we would see Will share his side of the story, and watching him find peace in the process while bringing up all of his core thoughts of pain was honestly just heartbreaking to see. Although Jada would confirm that she had an affair with August, she also went on to clarify that her and Will were temporarily separated when it happened, and then she went on to deny August's allegations of Will giving the singer his blessings. With the interview being watched more than 30 million times, it quickly went viral, and Jada's repeated use of the word entanglement rather than affair became an online target for jokes, as did a picture that showed Will in tears. Number 3, embarrassed Snoop Dogg. With Snoop Dogg being a good friend to Jada Pinkett Smith, I don't think any of us really believed that she could do something so cruel to embarrass her good friend during an interview on her Red Table Talk show. But she did. So we all saw Gayle King come for Kobe in 2020 after he passed away and claimed that the basketball legend was accused of making unwanted advancements towards an unnamed woman. Snoop, being clearly upset with the fact people were choosing to ruin Kobe's legacy in an attempt for fame, would then take to his Instagram to post a video where he would call Gayle out by insulting her appearance and telling her, "Back off, B, before we come get you." As a result of the outburst, Jada would then force the rapper to make an appearance on her Red Table Talk show so she could clear the air. But in the process, she showed no mercy and ended up embarrassing Snoop Dogg by saying, "When you first came out and said what you said, you know, in regards to Gayle, my heart dropped. I felt like not only were you talking to Gayle, but you were also talking to me. I was like, oh no, Snoop has now taken his power flow away from me, away from Willow, away from my mother." Snoop Dogg then ended up feeling so ashamed that he even issued Gayle an apology. But honestly, even though he was in the wrong, there was no need to embarrass him in front of the whole world when this just could have been a private conversation between two old friends. Number 2, racial bias. During a Red Table Talk interview, Jada would reveal what triggers her the most when it comes to white women, when she opened up about her relationship she has with white women and women of color, and then she revealed a surprising revelation of how she views women with blonde hair. When she went on to say, "I think what crushes me specifically in my relationship with white women, the thing that really breaks my heart, is that white women understand what it feels like to be oppressed." She then went on to admit her own racial biases when she said, "I have to admit, I'm guilty to that to a certain degree because I do have my biases, specifically to blonde women. Blonde hair on white women just triggers me. I've had to catch myself." Jada then went on to explain she harbors such hateful thoughts when it comes to white women with blonde hair because all throughout her childhood, all she can remember is being teased by them in regards to her hair, how she looked, and how they made her feel belittled. But I think we can all agree that she was just sneak dissing Margot Robbie. And probably me next, who knows. And coming in number 1 today, we have the dealer interview. When Jada appeared on Sway in the Morning back in 2017, she would reveal a lot of interesting things when it came to her and Tupac. In the interview, when Sway asked her to talk about their relationship, she would say, "One of the things that's very interesting that I've never really said before is that when I first met Pac, when we first met, I was a dealer." Jada then went on to explain that she wasn't going to jump into the full details of their relationship because she was going to write a book on it. But then she would explain that she had to leave that life behind and Pac behind because something really bad happened, so she had to leave. And as she was leaving, Pac was going into it, and there was a point in which she had to go her separate ways from Pac. And she went on to say, and I just felt like, okay, God, one day you're going to do for Pac what you did for me, which is you saved me. It's clear that their relationship was complicated, and we can't really grasp what she was trying to explain about their relationship, but it's clear that their relationship was based on survival more than it was romance. Starting off our list today in the number 10 spot, we have the entanglement. Jada pretty much devoted a 2020 episode to her relationship with her husband Will Smith during an episode of her controversial Facebook watch series, The Red Table Talk Show. When the couple sat down to discuss R&B singer August Alsina's claim that he got Will's blessing to have a relationship with Jada, on the show Jada would admit that she did start a relationship with August during a brief separation from Will around 4 years prior. Will would then come out to say, "I was done with you. We decided that we were going to go separate ways for a period of time, and you would figure out how to make yourself happy, and I'll figure out how to make myself happy. I really wished we could be over." Jada then went on to elaborate on what she was doing within the brief break when she said, "I got into a different kind of entanglement with August. It was a relationship, absolutely. I was in a lot of pain and I was very broken." Jada then went on to note that the process of her relationship helped her realize that she couldn't find happiness outside of herself, and she was lucky that her and Will realized that they just couldn't stay away from each other. Number 9. Discipline Trey. When it comes to discipline, we all know that Will and Jada have chosen to let their kids deal with their own consequences, and maybe this is because Jada once tried to discipline Will's first son Trey, which he shares with his ex-wife. Back in 2018, Jada would invite Will's ex-wife to join her on an episode of the Red Table Talk Show, and in the midst of the episode, they would talk about co-parenting Will's son Trey and how Jada had some regrets when it came to it. With the two ladies having a really tough relationship at the beginning of their blended family situation, Cherie Zampino would reveal that they once even had a heated conversation on the phone where they exchanged some fighting words, as she called to talk to her son, but first she had to speak to Jada. And in the process, Cherie revealed that she wasn't being really respectful, and she even told Jada she was living in the house that she picked, to the point Jada also said, "It's my house now." Jada would also open up about the time she tried to discipline Trey, to the point Will even had to step in and put the star into her place and tell her that it was his son, not hers. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never have to miss on what we might just cover next. Coming in at number 8, we have The Root of the Matter. In the web series' 3rd episode, Jada would confess that the head wrap she was wearing with increasing frequency wasn't just a fashion statement, because in reality the star had been losing handfuls of hair, and with it she couldn't pinpoint the reason. Doctors then suspected that it could be because she was having a stress-related alopecia episode. Jada then went on to share the moment when she first realized her hair was falling out by saying, "It was one of those times in my life where I was literally shaking with fear, and that when I was like, oh my god, am I going bald?" She then put things in a spiritual perspective to get through it. The higher power takes so much from people, and by golly, if the higher power wants to take your hair, that's it. God, you want my hair? When I looked at it in that perspective, it really did settle. Number 7, Jordyn Woods. 2019 was definitely an intense year for Jordyn Woods when she got caught up in the Tristan Thompson cheating scandal and saw the first initial split between him and Khloe Kardashian. After the Kardashians went on to drag Jordyn's name by March of 2019, Jordyn would be ready to share her side of the story. And she even took a lie detector test to prove her involvement in the dissolution of Khloe and Tristan's relationship wasn't all on her. In the interview, Jordyn would reveal that she never once danced with the star, she was never making out with him, and she didn't sit all over him, and he was actually just hanging out with her and a group of her friends. In the end, Jordyn would tell Jada that she just wanted everyone to be accountable for their own actions, and she didn't want anybody to feel the way she had been feeling. By December of 2019, her results of the lie detector test would come back and prove that she passed and she was 100% honest. When she was asked multiple questions about her involvement with Tristan Thompson in the scandal. Number 6, Olivia Jade. In December 2020, Olivia Jade would make her first appearance on the Red Table Talk Show following the college admission scandal, in which her parents paid roughly $500,000 to secure Olivia and her sister admission at the University of Southern California. Jade, who is a YouTube influencer, noticeably went quiet during the Varsity Blues investigation that found both of her parents to be guilty in the process. She decided after Jada convinced her that the Red Table Talk was the right place for her to share her side of the story, as when she finally made it onto the show, she would say, "I'm here because I want to leave it on the Red Table Talk show. I don't want to keep dragging this throughout my life." During the episode, Jada's mother was not impressed with Jade taking a seat, and she would say, "I just found it really ironic that she chose 3 black women to reach out for her redemption story. It's bothersome to me on so many levels. Her being here is an epitome of white privilege." Number 5. Betrayals of the Heart. In an episode posted to Jada's controversial Red Table Talk Show Watch series, she would get real when she opened up about her marriage and how it wasn't easy and that there was a lot of betrayals when it came to her and her husband's Will's heart. While Jada used the episode to explain all the nagging rumors that were surrounding her marriage with Will and apparently how the couple aren't with each other, she also went on to allude the worst transgressions she has noticed in their marriage. When Jada finally dived into the infidelity part of their relationship, she would say, "I'm asked a lot about it. Is there infidelity in your relationship with Will? And it's like, no, but there have been other betrayals of the heart that have been far bigger than what I could think in regards to an infidelity situation. But what's more worse than cheating on your partner? Can someone just explain that to me?" Number 4. Matthew McConaughey. During Matthew McConaughey's interview on the Red Table Talk Show, he would reveal that he and his mother, fellow guest Kay McConaughey, had fallen out over her interactions with the press, an estrangement that lasted from 1996 to 2004, when he said, "As soon as I got famous, I started to have my weekly Sunday call home to call my mom. Mother wasn't answering the phone. A fan of my fame was answering the phone." This then resulted in Matthew to have to take a step back in his life so he could figure out how he could balance his life and how fame was affecting it. As when he was sharing his personal details of his life with his mom, he would be finding them shortly show up in the 6 o'clock news 3 days later. So it resulted him not being able to talk to his mom as his mom for about 8 years. Number 3. The Birds and the Bees. It's not really surprising, considering Jada has been really open about her life in the bedroom, that a lot of her conversations and interviews on the Red Table Talk Show have become intimate stories that have worked their way from the bedroom into Red Table discussions. So much so, in fact, Jada has devoted an entire episode to talk about the birds and the bees. In the episode, Jada would learn Willow's first introduction and when it happened when she walked in on both her mom and dad, and how Jada even joked about it on ET, saying, "Oh my god, I need to get this child some therapy." She was actually really embarrassed. But it couldn't get any worse as she revealed information on the intimate episode and when she was acutely aware of her children's experiences and how she just wants to input it into their conversation. But the whole thing was just really weird, because what kind of parent invests themselves that hard into their child's business? Number 2. Jaden Smith. Celebrity parents clearly aren't immune to parenting heartbreaks, as Jada once even had to bring her son Jaden Smith on an episode of her show to speak about his emancipation thoughts. During the episode, Jada would say, "At 15 years old, Jaden and I remember this day specifically. It's probably one of the most heartbreaking moments of my life. You got to a point where you told me straight up, you were like, 'Mom, I have to leave here to live my life.'" Despite being devastated, Jada knew that she had to honor her son's feelings, adding, "Being in this lifestyle and in this world is a bubble and he wanted out. I understood that because I didn't have the bubble. I knew that having my freedom outside the bubble, what I gained from that. I knew the sooner I let him go, the faster he was going to come back. But if your child feels like they have to run away, then there's truly a problem." And coming in number 1 today, we have Girls Trippin'. After nearly 2 decades of not talking to each other, not even Jada Pinkett Smith knew why she and Gabrielle Union had been locked in a feud for so long. So on May 28, 2020, during an episode of the Red Table Talk Show, the host invited her old friend on the show so they could once and for all settle their beef and squabble like grown women in order to do so. When announcing their feud, Jada would then come out to say, "Gabrielle and I were never really girlfriends. We were greatly associated that at some point point, that dissolved. And for like 17 years, we have not really spoken. We don't even know why we were so mad and what we were mad about. Jada would then go on to note that the whole thing was just very petty. Gabrielle was just happy that the two could finally come to a place of healing, and with it she would share her side of the story by saying, "I'm a hater, I'm a troll," before explaining if it wasn't for her life coach, she would have never seen how her choices were affecting her life so negatively, and it was also taking a toll on her personal relationships.